Hi, I'm Rob Speers, and I am not a pro fisherman. Meet Jason Doyon. He is a pro. Let's take a trip inside his mind. Jay is going to show us all the top secret tips and tricks that the pros don't want you to know. We're going to visit some of the best areas in Northern Ontario to show you where and how to find more fish and bigger fish. Let's find the right hook.
Right Hooks is brought to you by Esso On The Run. 3 locations to serve all your on-the-run needs.
Today, the right hook is going to be the slow death. But to really get it popping, Mr. Doyon has to make a modification for us. It's a bit of a complex rig, so I think we're going to take a closer look than normal. Enjoy. Yeah, he feels like a nice one. Yeah.
They love this slow death, eh? Nice. Keep cranking on. So we just set up here. This is our second pass with the slow death. And look at this, Rob's got an absolute tank on.
Oh yeah.
We got ourselves a beauty walleye here. Look at the size of this one.
Weight.
It's like a 23. Oh! That was like a 23, 24 inch fish. Oh well, we'll get him next time. So today I just want to talk about our slow death setup. First of all, I use a bait caster with a flipping feature. That means when you let the line out and you drop you let your thumb go, it locks the spool in right away. So that's really important. So I like using anything from a 6 to 7 foot. I like a 1-piece rod, but you can use a 2-piece rod, but it is definitely rated for heavier line. So definitely having the right setup is key. A lot of people talk about bottom bouncer selection. Bottom bouncer selection is very easy for me. Very simple. I use always 2.5 to 3 ounce bottom bouncers, whether I'm in 8 feet of water or if I'm fishing 30 feet of water. So for me, heavy bouncer, so I can be very versatile. I can go shallow, I can go deep. I don't have to re-rig all the time. So again, a 2.5 to 3 ounce bottom bouncer. This happens to be a 3 ounce bottom bouncer. The line selection is also important. You don't want to use too light a line. If you happen to be fishing tight to shorelines with a lot of wood or rock, the nice thing about the slow death rig that we're using is that if it does get hung up in the wood, you can straighten these hooks out fairly easily as they are just a light wire hook, and then you don't have to retie all the time.
So we re-rigged and not even one pass again.
So we went back to the slow death setup here. I think he just woke up, so we decided to cover a little water and put on the slow death, and we made about a pass and a half, and yeah, this is a dandy fish here. Look at that. Get him. Take him by the head. Right on. There it is.
Nice one.
Probably about a 23 incher, I would guess. When the bite gets tough, you can always put on a slow death hook to catch fish. You weren't kidding, they are thick in here. This is definitely not the right time of the day to be catching walleyes. It's flat, calm, sun's out. It's scorching, but guess what? We're still catching them. Well, let's get this girl back. So this line right here is a 12-pound fluorocarbon. You can also bump up to 15 if you're going to fluorocarbon. If you're fishing very, very rocky structure, where you're fishing a lot of boulders, you may want to even look at monofilament, as fluorocarbon line does sink and monofilament does float. What we're doing is a slight modification to the hook. Above that, we're putting a bead. I use a gold bead most of the time, but you can use silver, green, any type of bead. It just mimics an eye. This is an unmodified hook. But I'm going to show you how to make this roll even more, so that way instead of a tight roll, your setup, your worm is going to have a nice big wobble to it. So we're going to take our pliers. What we're going to do is we're going to put a bend right here in the hook. Okay, so we're going to grab this right here, and we're going to bend this even more. Okay, we're going to bend it quite a bit more. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab up here by the eye, and we're going to straighten this part out, leaving this bend even bigger. All right, so we're going to put our finger right here, and we're going to increase that. Let's finish off this bend. All right, that should do right there. This part of the shaft up here of the hook still has to line up with the hook point. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right hook setup. But see how much wider of a bend that has now? With this bend, your wobble or your spin of your artificial will be much lighter. Nice walleye. So we're actually pulling the slow death rig here. One of my favorite numbers baits, and just coming across the shoal, and sure enough, we're in about 16, 17 feet of water using artificials. We got this absolute beautiful walleye here.
Jay, your instincts are just on fire today.
There it is.
Yet again, not a minute after he changes his rig, fish is on.
Always changing and adapting. I'm going to show you how to rig this with a crawler. So this is your standard wind-up worm, very, very popular Detroit River jigging worm. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bite the first 2 ribs off. That's the first 2 ribs on the top. Now, a lot of people say, why do you cut the tail off? Well, I cut the tail off because the tail will kill a little bit of the roll. So we're going to actually thread this right down the middle of the worm. And we're going to go, see the collar right here? We're going to go past that collar. And then below the collar, you'll see there's about 2 or 3 ribs down. You want the hook to come out there. We're going to go about 3 or 4 ribs down below the hook, and we're going to bite that off. With the wind-up worm, what you're going to find, especially in these northern Ontario lakes where you're catching a lot of fish, you're not going to put your hand in the bait cooler every 2 minutes. You're not going to have dirty hands anymore, and you're going to catch anywhere from 5 to 20 fish or more on one worm.
Oh, got one? Oh yeah, I think I got one here, Jay. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, another healthy walleye out of this bay. Look at this.
There he is on the slow
Oh
depth again.
yeah, right on. Slow
Good
depth.
job.
Well, we really had to work for this last one to show you how it went, but we got one last one on the slow depth lure. Make sure that you make that modification before you go, and you're gonna end up with nice pretty walleye like this. Till next time.